YouTube with the August 27th, 2020 edition of the Node.js Release Working Group. I'm going to hand it off to Beth, who will take it from here.
Awesome. So we will be running from the agenda, which is in the Node.js release issue, and it's issue number 606. We've got 3 or 4 items on the agenda today, but I'll start with, are there any announcements? I guess I have one. 14.9 went out just now. The blog post should be available soon, very soon. So that was promoted today. And if there are no other announcements, we'll move on to the first item on the agenda. And it is the special treatment for package JSON resolution and exports. I can't remember how long this one's been on the agenda.
It was their last meeting, and that's probably on me. I think I had an action that I hadn't done yet, so I apologize for that.
Oh, okay, that one was just to
Yeah,
add a comment, wasn't it?
it was, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So, leave that with me.
Awesome. Yep, saves us discussing again. The next one is one that I raised yesterday, a proposal for a Slack channel for the release working group. And this kind of stemmed from, I kind of find myself quite often like pinging Richard or other people directly or in group channels that we happen to all be in. Various problems with the release or build machines and stuff, just as a kind of double check. But I think if we collated all of that into one shared release working group channel, it would probably be a useful resource for the rest of the releases, especially now we've got a larger pool of releases. Keeping in contact with everyone separately is probably a bit more difficult. And when we see things like, hey, the 40next staging branch is currently failing CI, it'd be good to have kind of a dedicated place for us to exchange that.
Yep, definitely agree.
Oh, sorry. Quick point of clarification. Are we talking about a channel or a workspace? Like a channel in an existing workspace or?
So I was thinking of either the Node, a channel in the Node Slack or the OpenJS Slack. I'm not sure which one. I know the other working groups like package maintenance and build currently have channels in the Node Slack. So I'm not sure which one's best placed, but definitely talking about a channel in one of the existing instances.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think the OpenJS one is the best one. I think it's a pro account, so we get the history right, like any pro like instance.
Yeah, that was the trade-off I was kind of thinking. Would it be nice to have it in Node 1, or would it be nice to have it the history from the OpenJS Slack? I think the history is probably quite a draw.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Are there any concerns, or I'm feeling it can be a public channel and we keep all of our private communications in the Node.js private org for security releases for now. Because I think it'd be good to let other people see what's going on with releases, particularly the other members of the TSC and anyone that has an interest in releases in general.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
So
it's fun. I looked for that channel many times actually. Where are the release group discussions happen?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so if there's no objections, I can kind of take an action to find an OpenJS Slack admin to create a channel, and I'll link it in the minutes or something.
I might be able to do that. Do we want it in the Node.js Slack or the OpenJS Slack?
I think OpenJS for the history.
OpenJS.
Okay, so and just call it release?
It probably needs to have a node somewhere in there if it's on the OpenJS one.
Oh, so you said OpenJS, not Node. Okay.
Awesome. Cool, thanks, Miles. We can possibly move on to the next bits while we are.
And one last question, we do not want this, this can be a public channel, correct?
I think so. I think it'd be nice for people to be able to follow it.
Yeah.
Okay, I created it, I'll add you all.
Thanks, Miles. I will share my screen. The next couple of items on the agenda are to quickly run through the schedules, see if we need to make any amendments or expedite anything. So for Node 14, we've got Richard down to do the next one, due to be released next week, is that? Oh, no, the week after, isn't it?
Yeah, the week after.
Following Tuesday, and then we've got Rory. Then we've got a couple more releases. Well, actually, we only have 3 more Node 14 current releases, and then the LTS transition release, which will just have the 1 commit. I think we're scheduled. People can feel free to sign up for the October ones. For Node 12, we probably need to push 12.19 out again.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I haven't been able to do more work on it. I got some backporting done, but it's just been, my schedule has been split.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty busy. So let me bring up the calendar. I guess tentatively push it to be released, I don't know, maybe as far as the 22nd of September? Or maybe the 15th.
Well, do we have someone who can volunteer to do it? Because I think that unless we have someone who's volunteering to do it, we can, like, if we pick a date, we're just kind of
Pushing it
continuing
out.
to push it out.
Yeah.
This would be the one on 9/22 or the one we're pushing.
It'd be the next December minor.
I can try to do it, I think.
Okay. I'll leave it there and feel free to change the dates to what you see fit and think that you could do if that's the case. And if not, we'll just loop back and try and figure something out.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident I can get it done. I'll come in.
Awesome. Thank you. And 10, I think 10's just existing these days. So we'll do a roundup of the bug fixes when we get pressure on some of them. I think there might be 1 bug fix that someone requested that I noticed yesterday, but it doesn't seem particularly urgent just yet. Okay. So that was kind of it for what's on the agenda. I'll take a quick look at the recently opened issues and one we've not discussed in a meeting yet. I saw Michael raised an issue around the maintenance LTS naming and terminology. I don't know how many people have had a chance to dig in and read through this one.
I've scanned it. I did not spend too much time on it. I know that this is something that we've gotten pedantic about on and off. Like, I feel like that happens once a release cycle, like right before something's about to either go to maintenance or go to LTS. I can't really speak directly to exactly what was said in the post, but I do think that it's worth remembering that, like, this stuff is super subjective and the language that we use is very ambiguous. So I think, I think that's all that I can maybe appropriately say without actually reading the discussion that's happened. Yeah. But like, we've augmented the terms many times over the years. I think, like, we can again, but it's not going to always work for everyone.
Right, agreed.
I did comment somewhere in there. So there was something about the end of maintenance. And I think we've been fairly consistent about that. But like you said, we have modified the wording around things that are actually in maintenance. But I don't think we've had an instance where something has become end of life and then had an update. I think once something's gone end of life, we've always just left it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't make the statement that I know if some absolutely terrible vulnerability came out within a week of a major release line going end of life and we had downloads showing it was still heavily downloaded, it was causing widespread ecosystem disruption, I think we would consider it, but I don't think that goes against our statement that in general, end of life means no security fixes.
I would actually push back against that a little bit, Beth, because around the time that we end of lifed 8 in December, there's a series of security releases that went out like the next week. Now, like, I think to the point that you're making to leave us wiggle room, like they weren't like remote code execution attacks or something that was like super duper awful. I think they were mostly DOSes, but like those came out within n number of weeks of 8 going end of life, and we did not patch them. And if I recall correctly, we rushed through an update to NPM because there was that vulnerability, like the bin. Roy can maybe remember the exact vulnerability.
Yeah.
But there was one that happened in
remember,
December. It was a little Christmas present that we like rushed to release as its own standalone security update so that that could get in 8. And I think the discussion that we had there was that if we had not gotten that out, we would not have even have updated NPM. So like, at least in my impression, we've been rather aggressive about respecting that.
Okay. Yep.
And we need to be quite clear about it, because one of the things that we do is when releases actually go end of life, I can't remember the time period, but we don't keep the build machines around for that much longer. So we don't delete them immediately, but as soon as a release does drop off, we do flag sort of the older OSs and stuff that we could potentially take out of the CI and replace with sort of new OSs. So we do have to be reasonably strict in that, you know, it's not just the decision as to whether we would or not, it's whether we'd even be able to. And in my mind, sticking to a sort of, yes, that this is a line in the sand that we stop here. And yes, we can keep machines around for a week, you know, a couple of weeks just in case, but the reality is they will probably be quickly repurposed, because it is a bit of a strain on the build team to keep older operating systems, which, you know, themselves may be getting to the end of their maintenance windows running.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I think, yeah, generally our outward message has always been end of life is.
And I think what we've tried to do in terms of messaging is we've tried to be more kind of matter of factual, which is this is what it means in terms of how we see what goes into the releases. But I think Mikhail is Mike was more about trying to get to what messaging we're sending out to the ecosystem, which is probably something that we've not traditionally been too forceful is not the word, but, you know, we don't tend to push so much a view as to what the modules should be doing.
Yeah.
In terms of what releases they should be supporting. I mean, that falls over into the package maintenance group, doesn't it? Into terms of what releases should be supported and when they should be moving off them.
And they have put out blogs, I believe, even on the Node Foundation Medium, I think it was, about what versions of Node you should be testing with and which ones you should provide support for in your module when you write it. So I think I might mention this in package maintenance. I can see Wes has commented on it here too, and see if they have any, I don't know, suggestions about this messaging in terms of how we can, I don't know, check what the statements package maintenance have and check what we have in the release information to see if they kind of say the same message and don't contradict at least.
That would be good.
I can take an action to do that. I believe part of this is that just picking out this, in my view, maintenance means to get off this. That's something that, bearing in mind, I think we now have an 18-month maintenance window. I think we need to be clear that maintenance doesn't mean get off this. Like, if you're using a release line in maintenance, that's not a bad thing, but you should start planning for end of life. And I think that's just a statement we need to be clear on. Are there any other thoughts or next steps on this one? Nope. Okay, well, I can mention it to the package maintenance folk and check out their blogs and documentation and just see what their messaging is and compare. But other than that, I don't think we plan to change the naming of release lines anytime soon just because of disruption. We've stuck to this messaging for quite a while now, and straying away from it might cause even more disruption and confusion. So. Okay. And I think there's not much more on the release agenda. Anything else anyone would like to raise, bring up, or use this time for? No? If not, I'll give you half an hour of time back and call the meeting to a close. Any last minute comments, discussion? No? Okay, then thanks for joining everyone and speak to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.